Hello world, double thumbs here. The DJI Pocket 2 has become my main on-the-go camera, just like the Osmo Pocket before it. And I think the DJI Pocket 2 has been a great upgrade to the original Osmo Pocket. And in this video, I'll share some of my thoughts that I've noticed over the last year of using this camera. So some pros and cons of this camera and who I think this camera is for, and also what I think the next Osmo Pocket 3 or Pocket 3 should have. Let's go find out. Okay, so starting with some of the pros and cons of the camera, and the biggest pro is that it's a great vlog camera. It's got great video quality, a decent audio quality, much better than the Osmo Pocket 1 in terms of audio, and also it's got a better field of view. So the 20mm field of view definitely captures yourself and enough of the background. Also, it has an option of going with the 15mm field of view with its wide angle attachment, and then it becomes even wider. So definitely a field of view isn't an issue compared to the 26mm that we got in the Osmo Pocket 1. And it also has some great features that carry over from the Pocket 1 or the Osmo Pocket. The favorite feature for myself has been the motion lapse, where you get a motion time lapse, which is pretty unique to a gimbal camera. You don't get that with any other camera unless you put it on a gimbal, and once you put it on a gimbal, the size is probably 10 times this little camera. And the second positive is the mechanical stabilization that it has, which means that it's going to be stable in low light, daylight, in any situation, compared to an action cam or any other camera that uses electronic stabilization. This is a mechanical stabilization done by a gimbal. So even in low light, it's going to keep the image stable, whereas that electronic stabilization, it's going to become blurry and jittery. And the last positive of the Pocket 2 for myself is the compact size. And with this compact size, you can carry it anywhere, and like the name suggests, it does fit in your pocket. So put it in the case, and the lens and everything is protected, and you just put this in your pocket and you can carry it around everywhere, which is a huge positive compared to carrying around a mirrorless camera like the 6400 or a Canon M50 or any other mirrorless camera, which really aren't pocketable. Okay, so moving on to some negatives of the Osmo Pocket 2, and the biggest in my opinion is its price and the competitors available at this price. And the Pocket 2 is priced at $350 US, and the creator combo with the do-it-all handle and the wireless mic and a few other accessories, they're priced at $500 US. And at this price range, you have a lot of cameras that you can choose from. If you're more of an action-y kind of a person, then you can choose the action cams like the Osmo Action number 2 that was just announced, and also the GoPros and other cheaper action cameras. And in terms of other pocketable gimbal cameras, you have the Feiyu Tech Pocket 2, the Fimi Palm, and if you wanted to just film on a stationary basis, then you have the cheaper mirrorless cameras. So the options are there, and that means that the Pocket 2 isn't the only one competing in this market. The second negative of the Pocket 2 is the existence of this guy, your smartphone. And it's 2021, and most smartphones do have the capability to record 4K videos, and most of them are optically stabilized. And that was my biggest concern for the times that I've forgotten the Pocket 2 at home, that the footage coming out of the phone here won't be as stable. And it is true, it's not as stable, but I was worried that it might be unusably shaky, but that's not the case. The optical stabilization and some electronic stabilization is effective in keeping the footage steady, so that it's definitely more than usable in my opinion, as long as you're not doing any kind of professional shots. So at the same time, then you ask the question, is it really worth spending $500 to buy something that you don't really need? Which seems to be a question that a lot of compact cameras has been asked. So an ongoing thing for the Pocket 2, in my opinion, I do think it's worth it to have a dedicated camera to give my phone a break, but still, it's a question that's gonna come up and has come up for myself as well. And the last negative really isn't applicable to everybody, but for myself, I spent the $500 and got the creator combo, and I find myself not using the wireless mic or the do-it-all handle at all. The compact design is one of the biggest pros for myself for the Pocket 2, and the do-it-all handle does make the Pocket 2 a lot bigger. And also the wireless mic, because I use my Pocket 2 on the go all the time, I usually don't have the time to plug in the do-it-all handle, clip the wireless mic onto myself and start filming. I would just usually pull it out, turn it on, start filming. So I tend to find that I actually haven't used them at all, really. So it's something that's a personal negative, but it is a negative. So who is this for? I think this camera is for someone who has a mirrorless camera and just want a pocketable, stabilized B camera for on-the-go shooting, like myself. And I think the biggest negative of the mirrorless camera systems is the lack of stabilization. And even if there is stabilization, it's never going to be as stable as something like the electronic stabilization you see in action cameras or mechanical stabilization you see with gimbals. You can purchase gimbals for your mirrorless cameras, but they do end up becoming really big and everybody looks at you weird and you get kicked out of subways and places. So definitely its compact size and stabilized footage gives you a great alternative to your mirrorless footage, and it still has great image quality, great audio quality, definitely enough to kind of augment your mirrorless camera. Secondly, it would also be for someone who's just starting out, because it would provide a all-in-one system for everything that you want to film, from vlogs to sit-down narratives to any kind of motion lapses. You can do everything with this little camera plus the creator combo, which will give you the wireless mic and other accessories to kind of film on the go without any other gear. So this is a perfect all-in-one system. The only negative is that it can't do any action shots, but otherwise it can do everything else. And now talking about some of the aspects that I would like to see in the next Pocket 3, and the biggest one is that 1-inch sensor. The Osmo Pocket 2 or the Pocket 2 has a 1/1.7-inch sensor, which is bigger than 1/2.3-inch sensors that you see in most action cameras and smartphones, but it is definitely smaller than the 1-inch sensor. I think the exact difference is about 2 times the sensor size in the 1-inch sensor versus the 1/1.7-inch here, which is significant, and it's going to have a significant difference or effect on the low light capabilities and the image quality as a whole. So if the Pocket 3 can fit in a 1-inch sensor into this gimbal system, then it's gonna be a game changer. So in conclusion, I think the DJI Pocket 2 is one of the best pocketable cameras in the market today, and it definitely is my favorite pocketable camera and has become my main on-the-go camera. And I think it is a 1-inch sensor away from being perfect, but at the same time that probably would increase the cost. So maybe the Pocket 2's the perfect balance between size, price, and image quality. But what do you think? Let me know down below. Until next time, bam.